Excellent. Um, First of all, thank you very much for doing this. You give one of what I think is top five performances all time in Leaving Las Vegas. So
Oh,
this has
thank
been
you. Very
huge.
nice.
It's incredible to show people your work and other things too. We had a movie night recently. We watched Cocktail, and it's such a fun movie to watch, and everyone is just like, it's such a time and place thing that you just you feel what being an actor should be. Just like this, like I'm on an island with like doing movie star stuff. It's so cool. And then I was one of the reasons I actually watched this movie was you because I had a very similar situation a few months before I saw the film, so I was not
Wow.
going to watch the movie. I joke with Brittany and Dave and everyone had been, if it had been Sundance, I wouldn't have watched it because it was everything that was like after a guy loses it, no, following the death of no, just that's not a
Uh,
good. But
uh,
it was Tribeca, and I was like, let me give it a shot. I like so many people in this movie. I'm also a writer going through something. Let's see, and it hooked me so quickly. And like this is such a reflection of kind of what you're going through, but also how a movie could do it in a way that's entertaining. And I imagine that was the appeal. But when you read it and you're kind of getting the hardest role, how do you sort of work through that of I want to do it obviously, but how do I do it right? It's such a responsibility.
hmm. Well, yeah, I think one thing that was really interesting about this film is that they went off and shot the entire movie basically in New Jersey and then came back to LA and I started and only had 3 days. And that was the last 3 days of the whole shoot.
Yeah, no pressure.
Oh, I know. I kept remembering, like, I kept thinking, like, are you still shooting? Is this movie going on? Like, I didn't really hear from anybody, which is so great. Like low budget films, they're just so much. They're just so different. And my first scene was the scene in the restaurant, having everybody around me talking about the fact that I have this disease, but I don't want anyone to be upset about it. It's all going to be good. And what was so great is that life sort of imitated art. I got there, I felt completely uncomfortable because I didn't know anybody and I was worried about doing the scene. I was talking to Brittany right away saying, hey, like I'm so nervous. And so I was leaning on my daughter. I wasn't talking to Nick because Nick is a huge pop star. I don't know him at all, but he's like, he's going to be my son. And so he just like walks into the scene and it immediately my focus was on him, not her, even though she's the one who's helping me through this really tough moment. Matt is looking at me with such love and helping me and like has tears in his eyes off camera. So he's my ex-husband. And then of course David is totally annoying and just doing his thing. So it just what was so magical is that it just happened in one moment. The chemistry of the family came to be and all the actors have been talking about that. What's special is that these particular actors, because of their openness and their generosity, very quickly, under very difficult, low budget circumstances, were able to forge
Right.
these deep relationships. So those are the best kind of movies.
When I was talking to Brittany about it, it's like you can tell when people are having a good time and connecting. And it usually means the movie's good. There obviously are exceptions, but like you can also tell when it's not going well. Like you can tell when like, your eyes, but like, ugh, I don't like that person. Like and always that's a movie where they're supposed to love someone and you're just watching like they hate each other.
Yeah. They have no chemistry. They have no chemistry. Like, what? Wait, they're supposed to be madly in love. How could they have no chemistry?
Like,
Like,
well,
what?
like yeah, and then you watch movies like this where it's they not only are they getting along, but they're simulating not getting along in that very specific family way that's it just turns on a dime.
Yeah.
And you
Brittany and Nick are so good together. I really was so excited to watch the whole movie for the first time because I wasn't a part of so much of it. Um, and I was so amazed at their performance, especially just how, as you said, like how natural it was, the nuanced competitiveness of the two of them, the jealousy, the anger, the resentment, the like need for each other to connect, even though they were really angry at each other. I don't know. I thought they were brilliant, both of them.
yeah, for sure. And then I think for you, having to sort of carve out this very unique person, right? So you have to find how to play something differently and not like, oh, I saw this in a movie once, or I know that like I read a script like that, but also then reflecting on what they're remembering about you. And the fact that it works so well is this real great, obviously the script and the direction, but all of you, I think not just your performance, but also the way they're thinking about what your performance is going to be. Because like you said, they didn't know. They're kind of
I know. Yeah, I know that's kind of crazy. They didn't even know what I was going to do. And that yet they were grieving me for a whole month. It's just really funny. Yeah. Well, I think I had some guideposts. I had the idea that she was a klepto, which was very helpful. I was a klepto when I was younger. I loved her immaturity. I felt like she did her family kind of a disservice by being so immature about the fact that she was going to die. But yet that's so human. That's what people do. I love that I understood viscerally. My son is a writer and he's about the same age, a little bit younger maybe than Nick, but just how much I adore him and I kind of put him on a pedestal, but yet sometimes I do kind of rely on my girls to help me through tough situations. There's so much to relate to for me that it made the moment where I had to step in like I'd already lived a lot of it in my own life.
Well, that's the thing. If you can bring your stuff, but still find a way to make it relatable, because I think being specific is relatable. I think when you try to make something for everyone, you make like mush, and everyone goes, yeah. Like you think about like you see so many times a movie that'll have a dying parent element, or it'll have a romance, and like it's just not a life that anyone's actually lived. It's fun to watch because it seems like a good time, but it's not
Yeah.
the. And when you get real specific, everyone's most people's favorite movies are about a filmmaker's like very specific experience, and by telling your story you do connect with other people, and I think by making the character so specific you do find a way to make people go, I see my mom, or I see, or you see someone, and it's such a special thing. And I think for having limited screen time, I think you still have a complete view of this person's life, why she would be with David's character, why she would have married Matt. Like you get everything. You understand where the kids have come from. It's kind
Mhm.
of I'm just, you know, it,
Well, that's good. I mean, I think a lot of it had to do with, to be honest, I want to give like a lot of credit to Nick because he was so open and very, very present, like one of the most present actors I've worked with. And there would be no way to develop that kind of chemistry with another character, and you wouldn't be able to show that a mother loved her son as much as she did love him and he loved her if the two people weren't willing to be completely open to each other. And so I don't know. I don't think I could have made that, created anything on my own. I do believe after all of these years that all of my unique experiences and that sometimes end up resonating in a good film as a result come from that openness between actors.
oh yeah, no, I think it's 100%, and then you guys make something that I think will stand the test of time. So
I hope so.
I think so. I'm delighted that we got to do this and to talk about it. And I get to say to your face the thing I've been writing about for 15 years, which is you're one of the biggest Oscar snubs in history. So I feel good about that.
Wow, thank you.
Well,
No, Susan Sarandon, actually, I mean, that was such a beautiful performance of hers. And people give out awards also, so for the body of their work. And I have so much respect for her. So believe me, there wasn't one part of me that felt like I deserved something in that moment. I felt very grateful, I promise.
oh no, just getting there is amazing. But
Yeah, exactly.
we all have our things, and that's one of mine. So just that.
Well, I appreciate that.
You should be proud. This is one of my favorite performances of the year. Just watching like made me remember good times instead of thinking about bad for a couple minutes. So that was, you provided a service as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm sorry you had to go through your tough time.
I did it
Yeah.
with you guys, so it could have been worse.
Yeah, I know, and it doesn't go away. I've gone through some tough loss as well, and it's a long process. It's a long process, and you keep that person with you through the whole process and through the rest of your life. Like they actually do not go anywhere.
That is that's what
Yeah.
we're doing. So we're hanging in there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this and
No
being
problem.
my
No, nice to meet you.
likewise.